Ugh, fuck! What did I eat last night?
And action.
And that's that. Life and Times of the Thylacine. Well, should be arriving in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I'll tell you what fucking happened there.
Maybe do it one more time differently and we'll go to the next shot, I'm gonna say.
This fucking cunt. There's one pacing back and forth. 10 minutes.
2 times and then we'll move on.
3 and 1, take 9. He thinks he can abuse me on set, on a film set.
My name is Blake Williams. I was the director, writer, producer, production manager, location manager.
I'm Jordan Simmons. I was the first AD, the cinematographer.
My name is Jared Lyons. I'm the video editor and the production assistant of the Thylacine. The Thylacine is a short film produced and directed by Blake Williams about a young man who is trying to prepare for the boss's birthday.
Oh, thanks, Junior.
The Thylacine is a short 5-minute film with 2 minutes of credits. I guess like a big collaboration between a lot of people in my life.
I just wanted to shoot something cool. I had a Lamborghini in the script, and that's cool. I'll shoot a Lamborghini.
The script I wasn't really too fascinated by. It wasn't anything different or special or blew my mind, but it also wasn't the worst thing I've ever read.
It doesn't really have a story. It's like a kid. I think it's meant to be a kid. I actually don't know. Who is talking to some people about being late for something.
We are told about the Thylacine, this crime boss from Launceston in Tasmania. We get introduced to small fragments of his life.
Then they go around and they meet all these criminal characters, and the boss is coming. He's doing all this thing, and it's building up who the boss is, and it's the protagonist's father who the boss is. And it's just a big birthday party.
It's a fictional character, it's not true. I remember I showed someone the finished thing and they thought it was a real thing, and I said, no, it's not.
I think to understand why I wanted to make the Thylacine, you have to kind of look at where I was in my life around the end of 2018 and the beginning of 2019. I had recently had a pretty shocking breakup. I decided that the Thylacine would be a very thinly veiled disguise at getting a large number of people together who I felt as if I had not talked to in a long time, to kind of come together and make something, and also to make myself feel better about a situation that wasn't particularly kind to me.
We first discussed a short film called Stonefish, a short with a feature budget and ambition. It kind of got out of hand. So we put that aside and we decided let's make a smaller film, especially it being our first film together. And basically that was the Thylacine.
I personally got involved because I was friends with Blake. We both studied at the same campus of film and television, and I kind of shared interest in, producing something all my life. Most people who had shared interests with what I wanted to were never that dedicated. So I was really excited to finally have someone who was like, yeah, we got the paperwork, got a camera up, got actors, it's gonna be done, it's gonna be real, and I was so excited.
Basically made the film for this festival. We film it, we have 4 weeks editing.
I remember the night before we shot everything. I don't know if I'd had a panic attack or I just was feeling very anxious. I think I just had to get myself in the mindset, but once we started, I was in the mindset. I was concentrated and ready to go.
I was extremely nervous just before we initially started, to the point where I think I had to let out a lot of adrenaline by screaming like a very autistic child.
Someone stop him!
I had so much responsibility. Basically everything technical was on me, including all the paperwork and all the organization was all on me.
So Jordan had the wise idea of looking over at the footage that I just recorded, and what happened was that he spilled over a drink in front of all the electronics, which could have jeopardized the entire production. But it's not his fault because, well, he's special.
The nervousness turned into stress, which turned into frustration, which I'm glad we stopped filming when we did because someone may have been shanked.
Oh no, my CC cleaner. Shooting took 5 days, I think, if I'm correct. Might have been 6. I think there was a day which was kind of pre-prod stuff, but so I think it was about 5 days all up.
I think I was there 4 days before shooting started, just planning. Like, we went to all the locations, we scattered it all out, we tested some lighting, we saw what time the sun was, at in certain locations. I think I was there for 10 days. I flew from Launceston to Sydney for 10 days. I wouldn't get anything done. I just sit here and just watch this like all day.
So what's your opinion on Mr. Williams' view?
I think his views are very insensitive and offensive.
File, download as PDF. Good. Or as they say, good. Ooh, here's what we do, alright? We get everything in the shot list, Okay, no. Get everything in the shot list, then get like wide, medium, close up if we need any of that stuff. Get this to work, because it may not actually work. I've never tried this. Good kind of grasp on it, and voila. I'm not going to lose my script. I can walk around, and I'm like, oh shit, where did I put the script? Right here. The good old days.
Yes! I love Family Guy! So, first day of shooting.
I'm getting ghosted. On the first day of shooting, I was ghosted by one of our actors. We were in contact for like a little bit. He was really excited to work. And the last kind of message I sent him was, I was like, hey man, do you need any help with your costume or anything? And then he just never showed up, never said anything. Yeah, good. Let's draw attention to ourselves. Good fucking idea. We are setting up everything for the first shot of the entire thing, and one of our actors is ghosting me currently, so I am furiously going to keep ringing him until he picks up, and if he doesn't pick up, we'll have to see what we do. That's filmmaking, baby! They'll just get like several zooms in on me. Whoa! Because I can deal with that. It's just I think that probably is better. But if it honestly makes that much of a difference,
It's at Twilight.
I wouldn't want to wait that long.
It's not waiting that long, it's just that it gives us like a half an hour window to film everything.
No, I wouldn't want to do that. Because I'm going to want a lot of like acting shots anyway, because that's just what I like. Thanks for agreeing with me, Jared. Oh God, Jared!
Hi guys!
Hi, Jemima.
Jemima arrives. She's all ready, and we're just waiting for Ben.
Alright, so Blake, are you gonna apologise for what you have to doing to her?
No, but it's okay. We could like figure it out.
That sucks,
Yeah, I know. But oh well.
because you have to film like now, don't you?
Yeah, kind of. We'll give him like another 10 minutes, and then you're
Yeah.
now him. If
Okay,
not, because
okay.
it's just not going to play. But like,
Okay.
yeah.
So Blake, what's this young woman doing for us?
We're not shooting a movie. Yeah. I'm gonna have to wear better socks in this next time. Someone remind me, because it's giving me a real bad blister like right here.
I'm playing a lady of the night, and I'm talking to, I don't know what the other character is. I'm excited to do it. I think it's going to be a fun role. It's very different to my own self. It's been very relaxed. It's also been very formal at the same time, which has been nice.
You can tell by the way I move my bottom.
I was excited to see Ben. Hopefully he shows up, but if not, that's okay. Yeah, everything's been pretty good so far.
Did you
just like
He has no lines, does he?
Well, basically, I
He
was
didn't have
like,
lines.
no, he didn't have lines. You have more of a part than he does at this point. But yeah, he was basically just meant to be like a pimp. The last thing I messaged him was, I was like, hey, do you need any help with like costume or anything? I bought a whole costume for him just in case he shows up. And he was like, I've been pretty busy and I haven't had like any time to think about it. I'm like, that's alright, dude, just let me know. And then like every other message and call I like sent to him, he just didn't reply. And so I was like, okay. Yeah, it's a little awkward, but it's fine. I was prepared for this. Always think 11 steps ahead. Yep. All right. You're a new character, Jemima. Congratulations.
That sucks.
Yeah, that's life. Are you picking up the smoke?
I am on my end.
Yes, definitely.
All right, perfect. Shot of me in jail, like fucking mugshot.
Of me on my deathbed dying from lung cancer.
Why did you smoke more than 3? You never smoke more than 3. Go for a cigarette.
Okay, so can you just run through it quickly so I can see what it's going to be?
Sure. Pass me the bag.
Oh, you passed. What hand did she grab it with? So
Okay.
any more we do is going to be noisy.
All right. Well, if it's going to be noisy, would it be better to be closer or further away then? Because if we get the closer. Well, that's a wrap. We're done. Thank you for being the one person who.
Cancer. Well, you guys were cancer.
Oh, that's true.
That was really fun. Thanks for having me.
I don't think I've said thank you enough tonight, but like really, thank you, because Ben literally didn't even fucking come.
I know,
And if like either of you hadn't come, it would have been like, well, Jordan, you're the prostitute.
Yes!
So yeah.
My dream come true.
I liked doing that part. Like,
That was cool.
Yeah, so this just came off. So I'll snap off.
So Jordan broke the light. We were having a conversation and then he started jumping on it.
Fuck you, you did this.
So Blake, how do you feel about today's progress as the director, producer, writer, and loathsome lover?
And lover? Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. It's hard to act and direct, I find sometimes, because I just want to look at the camera and I just want to know what I can see. And I have to put like complete faith in Jordan a lot of the time. But yeah, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, what's happening here is I need more than one hand.
Okay.
So I'm going to need you to put down that camera, Jared.
I'm all tied up. So many. I can't fucking lie. We made her smoke so many cigarettes, and she was like sick after. I got so fucking.
How do you feel about Blake's directing debut?
It's pretty juicy.
Working with cast and crew was, well, again, this is first time independent. So it was really interesting to have this dynamic, which I've never had before on a, without a teacher, without someone supervising.
I felt as if I knew the people I was working with, I knew what I wanted, and I always felt like I knew a way of how to get there as long as I stayed like level-headed and calm.
A lot of them I met for the first time, which was, quite scary. Especially with Alec, because I know he's had some experience with people who probably know a lot more than me, and I didn't want to seem like a fucking idiot.
I'm like, so Andy, there's like a possible fire happening. He just gets off the seat, just runs into the room, and he's like, what are you doing?
He rips it off.
What are you doing?
I remember one take, the battery just died.
Cut to present day. Old Thylacine is the king of Sydney's underbelly. He's richer than Paco. He's bigger than Ledger. And he's a hell of a lot scarier than...
Chopper!
Did that be the actual take we used? I put flat. Oh, did it?
Yeah, you're a wanker who steals diaries.
More taking
And
back
where's-
stories I would.
and wears green booties.
Keepers.
I come from Blacktown, raised in Mount Druitt. I have culture.
On that, try and make it look nice if we see the couch, I guess.
This is continuity.
Yeah. Just keep them there for the moment, that will do.
Throughout the filming process, some shots had a lot of takes.
2-6, take 5. 2-2, take 8.
Just crazy.
3 and 1, take 10.
There was some very painful moments where Blake would get his classic 12 takes on his first shot, and that first shot, when you're sitting there for 12 takes, is fucking horrendous.
Action.
I was looking at the camera the whole time.
Just reset it.
Alright, this is reset.
2-2, take 7.
Action.
When we were shooting, the henchmen are speaking to Junior. I can remember Blake saying, and no one really paying attention, saying, yeah, I'm like Stanley Kubrick. I'm like a perfectionist when it comes down to this shit, or something to that degree.
We had shots going up to like take 12, maybe more. I don't remember how many, but there were so many takes. And the difference in the takes, very minimal. We'd cut, and Blake would say, okay, do it again. And we'd do it again.
This is a big day for him, Junior. I wouldn't want to see you mess this up. This whole thing's riding on you. It's a big day after all.
Alright, let's go again. Action.
It's your first time meeting with the boss, huh?
Yeah.
Reset, do it.
Zoinkies.
Alright. Action.
This is the first time you're speaking with the boss, right?
No.
Action.
This is the first time you're meeting with the boss, huh?
How do you want me to shrug? I'm really fucking this up.
Just casual. It's like, yeah, so. Alright, we're good. Action.
Wonder how I feel so far about this. I haven't really documented my thoughts. It's okay so far. It's getting me interesting to edit all this together. Might be a bit of a pain in the ass, but I mean, it's editing.
So much.
I hate this outfit so much. I really do.
Why'd you get it?
Because I look like a rich kid.
Blake lives in quite a wealthy neighborhood, and his neighbor just happened to have a collection of Lamborghinis.
Oh man, there's no way to not make me sound like a horribly rich child.
So Mr. Blake Williams lives in the Northern Beaches, which is widely known for being quite a well-off area.
It would just happen to be that my neighbor, my next door neighbor who lives just over there, has a Lamborghini. I devised a plan that I wanted to get a Lamborghini just for like production value. So I basically like went over there and I like just kind of smooth talked him for a bit. Now he's more than happy to give us a Lamborghini anytime because I think he quite enjoyed that, just showing off the car and stuff, so.
The process of filming the Lamborghini segment was a little bit
Complicated setup, especially for a bunch of first-time filmmakers.
The house was on a curve on the road, so you couldn't particularly see what was coming towards you when driving. So we had me basically spotting for when the Lamborghini to come and go, you know, raising my hand and giving signals to indicate when to drive up, let Mark in and drive off again.
We have a really, really narrow street. Buses try to get past here. I've once watched 4 buses try to get past each other in this street and it took them like 10, 20 minutes. But because it's such a narrow street, we don't really have two-way traffic going. It's more one person goes, another person parks behind another car, lets them go.
It all had to be timed perfectly. So it was, I was behind Mark, and Mark would walk down the driveway, and I would walk in this very awkward angle, following him, pulling focus, as well as making sure not to show his head. The Lamborghini has to show up at the perfect moment. Mark gets in the Lamborghini, and the Lamborghini takes off. And it has to be all right on time.
Jared would have to call up VJ. Jordan was obviously on camera and I was directing and trying to make sure everything went well. I think we were going to use walkie-talkies at one point, but then we were like, nah, that's silly. This is a real movie. We're not going to use walkie-talkies.
And that's the opening shot. And I hate that opening shot because it looks like absolute fucking shit.
I don't know why there was a lot of improvised shots during the skate park segment.
I think Jordan had some kind of master plan that he wanted to do.
For some reason in my head, I thought that was a much bigger scene, or maybe it was on paper.
I was a little bit confused when we turned up on the day and Jordan just said improvised shots, and as he pointed at his piece of paper. And I was kind of like, okay, you can figure this out. I'm not being involved. I kind of want to record the tension that's happening between you two.
Grab it, Blake. Grab the stuff.
What stuff?
This stuff. The stuff I was like, can you grab some stuff?
I've got this.
I think it was all improvised because I had no idea what the light was going to be like. But even then, we scouted it before. So I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. Because even on the day, I didn't even know which section of the skate park to shoot in. There was this big open area and then this more narrow area. I was trying to decide when we showed up with all the actors and all the equipment. I decided then to pick that, not when we scouted the location a few days prior. And I have no idea why I improvised all the shots. It's so stupid. I would never do that now because that's such a fucking idiotic decision to make. Why would you do that? It's not like we were short on time. I don't know why I didn't just think of something.
I was in character.
Just do what we did again and then I'll give you some direction. Okay, action.
I just wore my normal clothing and Blake gave me his shirt and hat. And for some reason he found it to be the most amusing thing on the planet. I remember him saying, "You're like a bootleg me." I don't know if Jordan regrets it. He probably does because he overshot so much of that sequence. So Jordan went full out crazy. He got a bunch of tracking shots, different angles, close-ups, and all of stuff that you want to get coverage, for a scene. And when it came to the final edit, 80% of that, or even more, maybe even 90% of what he shot was at the cutting room floor.
We got way more than we needed, but I don't know if that was necessarily a bad thing. I think we just could have shaved some time off if possible.
I'll tell you what fucking happened today. I'll tell you what fucking happened today. This fucking cunt. He's one pacing back and forth. He thinks he can abuse me on set, on a film set, after the Me Too movement. Alright? You know what? Where's my phone? Hashtag Me Too. Hey, I'm going, Blake. You can't stop me.
Jordan, I regret to inform you. I've already beat you to it. Say goodbye to your life as a cinematographer. Everyone will know you as Sodom Jordan.
So, in the original script, there was a fight scene.
We can just go for a take.
Yeah.
Probably. Yep.
Yep.
So we'll just call this take one. We've got the clapper or whatever.
We originally had a stuntman
Who I'd known since primary school. And his father did a bunch of the stunts on like The Matrix and like stuff like that. And he was kind of following in his footsteps. We were gonna light him on fire. We were insane. We were like, let's light this guy on fire because he's trained to do it. And like, it's gonna be really funny. We're gonna throw him downstairs. We're gonna stab him and stuff. Now I'm realizing why he never showed up.
I'm kind of glad he didn't show up because we don't have any kind of paperwork or insurance for that kind of thing if that goes wrong, and we would have gone to jail.
Jordan, the absolute mad lad he is, just said, "Yeah, I'll do it. Throw me out of the car, put me down the steps, I'll do it. I'll tumble down those steps for you." And he went, "Here you go, Jared," hands me his camera. "You're going to film me getting beaten up by Mark." And it was great.
So I just really wanted to watch my father beat up Jordan because, that's funny.
There were two sequences within this scene. There was the part where Jordan stabs the Thylacine in the shoulder, and then there was the part where he is thrown down the steps and then kicked in the stomach and he throws up blood. Which was pretty fun to shoot.
Basically, there's a hospital right near my house, has recently been decommissioned. We did not have permission to film there. So we just decided that we would go at night and we would film there because it kind of looked industrial, I guess. I think it's meant to be set in Bankstown, but we were like, where are we gonna find a place that looks like Bankstown? So we just went to the hospital, I guess, because, yeah, that makes sense. Jared took over cinematography, obviously, because Jordan was getting the shit beaten out of him by my father. So we do all the stabs, most of that's good, and we then go, all right, let's throw Jordan down the stairs.
We were like, okay, how do we light up, Jordan when he falls to the ground? Because there's no lights down underneath the staircase. And Jordan just went, yeah, just pull up the car and turn on the headlights, which, hey, worked out pretty well.
Camera rolling. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
So I'm there to throw myself downstairs instead. And then that got cut out. And that hurt. I was more worried about Jared being on camera than me falling down some concrete stairs. Mostly because I have never seen Jared's camera work before and I didn't know if he knew what he was doing or not. And I'm throwing myself down some stairs and I wanted to make sure that was on camera. But that didn't matter because that got cut out. I really want emphasis on that getting cut. I guess I was quite pleased with how Jared operated the camera because he got some cool stuff. The final shot of that, which was me on the ground getting kicked in the stomach and then just shooting out a bunch of this really dark coloured blood, and it looked horrific.
Okay.
There's blood on the ground. Blake's dad, Mark, is in a suit, and this security guard walks down the stairs I got thrown down earlier and is like, what's going on?
Nice Indian security guard came up to us and kind of asked us, like, what are you doing here? Why are you beating up this child and making him vomit blood? What is happening?
You kind of not allowed to film here, but just, I've been watching the camera. Just kind of hurry up and finish whatever, and you can, just get out of here. And luckily, that happened when we were almost finished.
I'm pretty happy with it so far. I haven't really had anything where I've been like pretty annoyed that it doesn't look right or it isn't really to my vision. It's all been pretty good.
I think we did a good job at everything.
Yeah.
I think everything's how I'd like it.
So if we fuck up, you know who to blame.
Not me. It's time to go to the future. I wonder what awaits.
To the other side.
So you're still in jail with Jared?
Yes.
Can you leave the house?
Yeah, I only woke up at like 2 o'clock. Are you ready for today?
Now they also got to wait for actors to reply to me. That's what I'm waiting for, so I know that we are doing it.
Do you want to grab something we can wipe the tub with, Blake?
I have no idea why they thought putting a tub of water on a styrofoam box with pebbles would stand.
How old was I? I was 19.
So, in order to shoot this miniature scene, I needed the camera on a tripod. Because I didn't want to be anywhere near these firecrackers because I didn't know how powerful they were. I knew nothing about firecrackers because Blake's dad Mark just had them sitting in his garage forever. I didn't even know they were going to work. And my tripod only goes down to a certain height before it just will not go any lower. So in order to fix this, I thought I need to elevate the miniature.
And then we looked around for a box for like a solid amount of time. We're like, styrofoam box, that'll work. And we're just like, it's whatever, it's styrofoam, it'll hold. It's just like some water in a boat. Like, that's not going to do anything bad.
He takes advantage of this situation.
For whatever reason, we put this huge, heavy tub of water to elevate it enough so it was at the camera's height.
Jared was the only one who was like, I'm not sure if this is going to work. I think everyone else was like, it's fine, it's styrofoam. They use that shit to pack boxes or whatever.
So this is styrofoam. This box is completely styrofoam. And there's a piece of, there's a panel, the only thing that's keeping support is just a panel right here in the middle. And I really, like me, I'm the only person so far in the crew that doesn't trust the box. Because I'm convinced this is going to pop.
Well, I don't trust them.
Listen to that noise.
The camera, you fucking idiot. You got so close to the camera there. No, you gotta fucking kill
It's
me.
splash-proof, man.
Oh, okay.
I got rid of the water.
We had a lot of people on the 4th day. We had a lot of people there.
So there was a party scene, which was essentially the finale.
This just seemed like Blake invited all of his friends over. It just became a real party. Because they just kept talking amongst each other, and Blake was just talking to them. No direction, no blocking, no helping setting up, just talking with his friends. I'm just trying to set everything up, and Jared's exhausted and confused.
Because we had a limited supply of like party poppers as well. It was just making sure that like every single person was like doing what they needed to do.
The Thylacine would open the door, be dark, and the lights come on, and everyone goes, surprise! And we had like 12 people in that room, maybe a bit less. And it was very hard to get 12 people to jump up at the same time saying surprise on cue.
The hardest part about that was getting everyone in a position that worked. Because we wanted everyone in frame, and we also wanted them to be in a position that was like...
With a lot of lights. So we needed at least 2 or 3 people on the light switches to turn it on. And so that meant no one was on camera. So it meant Jordan, because his character was beaten up and thrown out the steps, we thought it'd be funny if he was in the background, you know, in bandages, you know, with a sling. And because Jordan's in a sling, he can't use the camera. So he only has one arm available. So what he did is he was like, okay, I'm gonna turn on the light, you know, the camera's already rolling, you know, I'm surprised, yeah. And then he did it a few times. And then he realized that he could get something really nice if he lowered the shutter down. You can get this beautiful glow within the living room. He was describing this to me, and I had no idea what he was saying because there was so much noise. And I was trying to remember the cue and trying to hide. And I just remember this, just him saying it, and I just look at the camera in complete confusion, and then he just went, don't worry, you'll understand later.
I think that was the day that if Blake asked me the wrong question, I probably would have punched him in the nose. Because I was really sick of his shit that day. But I didn't want to keep working on that film anymore. I think I was pretty done at that point.
I'm glad it's done. That was probably the hardest thing. Today was probably the hardest day, I'll say. Because I hate trying to yell over everyone. I hate trying to be like, I know you guys are talking, but I gotta do the thing. It's very hard because I also don't like to ignore people, and I don't like to ignore and I feel like I'm not talking to people. I feel like I'm being rude because I've asked them all the way to my house and stuff. I hope it looks good because I was very rushed and I wasn't really able to be completely focused, but hopefully it looks good. How's Leafy?
Oh my god.
I don't know what this looks like. I hope it looks... I think I rocked the backwards hat.
Alright. It is day 5. I missed out on the shoot today. And now I'm going to be recapped what happened.
Okay, sure. We had 2 actresses today.
There's really no way that doesn't make us sound like an idiot. We were filming just across from here. One of our neighbors has a beautiful, beautiful pool. And I was like, we gotta use that.
And it's a cool view and it would look great on camera. Except it didn't. Because I didn't know what I was doing.
We were having Tash, who plays at Croco style, and we have Lucy, who plays the secretary.
We get there. You know, I'm playing around with the lighting. That's the time Tash arrived. So we just talked instead of shooting.
Lucinda didn't show up, and I was like, huh, that's strange, she hasn't shown up.
It's about, 10, 20 minutes late, and I'm like, hey Blake, what's going on? And she's like, oh, I don't know, I don't know. I said, did you look out the front? And he's like, oh, yeah. I'll go look again. And he goes out and he looks and he's like, nah, nothing. Comes back in.
And I was like, well, I'll call the other actress. Called her like twice up until like 11:40, and I was like, huh, no response. Eventually, like 10 minutes later, I get a call from this random number, and I'm like, okay. So I answer the call,
and it's the actress's mum, and she's like, just letting you know that like her phone is broken and we're taking it to the phone repair place today, so she doesn't have it, but she got there okay. And I'm like, no.
So Blake goes out, doesn't see them, comes back in with just this look on his face, and he's like, I think we lost Lucy.
I go out the front and I look around and I'm like, okay, she's not here. Maybe I'll walk up and down the street. So I walk up and down the street, see if she's at one of the other houses. She's not there. So I call back Mrs. Perry again, and I say, hey, yeah, your daughter is not here. And then her mom starts freaking out because she's like, where is she? She's like, Jesus, like she's gone missing. And she's like, I literally dropped her out the front of the house. And we're like, okay. And so I meet up with her mum and her dad, and we go on like a search party to try and find this woman. So we're looking like all around. I'm on the streets there in the car. I just can't find her. And we do this for an hour and a half. Meanwhile, Jordan's just entertaining Tash, doing whatever.
Basically, that's when I decide, all right, let's actually stop being stupid and get some shots of you. We were there for maybe 20 minutes. No sign of anyone. I start messaging Blake, and he's like, there's a whole search party going on. We're trying to find her. She has a hat on, at least. I didn't have anything. By that night, I looked like a fucking tomato.
Here is what happened. She got to an area of the house which has like, I guess the best way to describe it is like how you would enter into a pool. There's like a little kind of like pull-up thing and you open the gate. She couldn't figure out how to work that mechanism. So she decided that she would instead walk 40 minutes back to her house and just, that was that. So she was defeated by something that is used to lock toddlers out of pools. And then so her mum was like, well, I'll go grab her and you can film. And we're like an hour and a half like behind schedule at this point. And she finally comes back and I'm like, what happened? And she's like, oh, I didn't know how to get into the house. And so I showed her how to enter into the house. And then we started filming. But we thought she was like dead.
When she got in, this is when I got the worst shot in the movie, because it just looks like fucking shit. It's just lit poorly, it's framed poorly. You can see the reflector in her like glasses, and you can just see it moving across her face. It's just awful. It looks so bad. It's just shit.
Can you just show us all the sunburn?
Burn. Everywhere.
How did your day shoot look?
Jordan, you were there for more of it than I was.
It came out pretty well. There's no shots I was like, oh, that's not great. So it all came out really well. Possibly even worth the sunburn. Maybe. Maybe. I'll think about that one.
All that again, what's this guy doing? What's a little bit of a dance? There's nobody in there, so I think you're going to be okay.
Well, at least we get to eat pizza. That's the best part about pizza, because you're like, no one comes. I'm still eating pizza, so it's still great. I felt pretty good. I felt pretty happy with it. And then we went and got pizza. I invited all the cast and crew to come, and then they didn't. It felt pretty celebratory. It felt like we'd all put a lot of effort in and we'd finally got something out of it that I think at the time we all felt pretty happy with. We were all I think we all thought it was pretty solid.
When we finished, it really wasn't much of a relief. I think it was more of a I never want to do this again kind of feeling. I think even at the time I was a little iffy on a lot of it. A lot of it was really bad, at least on my part. I think there was a few shots I was really happy with, but then there were a lot I was like really embarrassed. Not even disappointed, just embarrassed that I got. I guess there was kind of a bit of a relief Not I did it, more that it's over. No more. It's done. And obviously, for Jared, it was only the beginning.
How did I go down there?
I'll do this for you.
Post-production was the most miserable experience I've had in my life so far. Editing-wise. Post-production was miserable for this. I had no fun assembling this disaster of a movie.
My experience with the post-production was I finished it and I was like, it's in Jared's hands now. I did not ever expect that the movie would take a year to get made. I thought that maybe it'd be released in like June. I had a feeling that it was like, yeah, like June. It's a bit of a complicated edit, but like June.
Assembly for the Thylacine was just a nightmare. Because some scenes had slates, some scenes didn't, and Blake's slating convention is just retarded. Like, it went from scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, and then it just stayed in scene 3, and then it was just 3B, 3C, 3D. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? You know, and in editing, I just gave up. I gave up, like, naming the shots, because it was so confusing, and the slate was missing, and the paperwork wasn't really helpful. Things got a lot more difficult as well, while I would finally make rough cuts, show them to Blake, and Blake would, you know, say something that I might disagree with, or he wants something that I can't really supply, and then I have to start digging through these files which I haven't named. This is my fault, because I didn't do the work properly, but it didn't make things easier. When Blake would want to write feedback to an editor, he would essentially be very hesitant to be straightforward. He always go, yeah, Jared, that was great, blah, 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 you did amazing. Oh, could you please, could you just please do this, extend the shot, and this, you know, and then when I hand out this rough cut, I get the feedback, and I'm looking at this list of untitled shots of this fucked up slating convention, and Blake's chunks of paragraphs thanking me for how great I am. I go, I give up, I'm not doing this. Fuck this, I'm going out, I'm working, I'm sleeping in today, I'm not working on this project. Now I say it with laughter and joy, but at the time I was so frustrated just working on this thing that just didn't... I was just so incompetent.
I wasn't involved too much with the post-production. During the scene at the skate park, we got like 10, 12 different takes of Jared saying the one line,
I'll get it done.
Reset.
I'll get it done.
Reset.
I'll get it done.
Blake got so many fucking takes of me saying I'll get it done.
There are two possible explanations for why there are so many takes of Jared saying, I'll get it done. One of them is that I just wanted to get a lot of different takes of it so that Jared could choose the best. The other is I wanted to be a little shit. That's possibly the other second option. Sometimes I just do things because I like to annoy people.
Later, I was bored and just discovered the software Mixcraft. And then I'm like, let's just see what files I have that I can put into here and make like a remix. And I found Jared saying I'll get it done 1,000,000 times. That's it.
What also made post-production really painful was the lack of music.
I was the one who got Blake in touch with the composer, Jaden.
We sent it off to him. A week within him getting the footage, he sent me like a rough version of it. Along with that message, he sent, hey man, sorry about the wait. My grandpa died. Things aren't going too well. And I'm like, take time off, man. Like, don't force yourself to do it. Just, you know, take time to grieve. That's obviously like a massive thing.
From my knowledge, Jaden's grandfather was like almost like a father figure to him. He like grew up in the same house his whole life with him.
Another 2 weeks later, I send him a message, not related to film. And I say, hey man, how you going? I hope everything's okay with the grandpa and the friend, but you know, it's not like anything worse could happen. And he says, yeah, it can. My grandma just died.
And again, same situation. Basically a mother figure. You know, grew up in the same household his whole life.
And then I basically didn't hear from him again for like a long period of time.
I feel like out of the whole thing, throughout the post-production, is I've gained a lot of respect. Even though it took me a year to edit the whole thing, I felt like people who I worked with, you know, Blake and Jordan, have now respected my efforts, which is great. Because even though there were times where I wanted to scream at them and call them fucking idiots and do all these horrific things, I was so happy that I kept to my word, I did my job, and I was done. You know, that's what I want to do, is I want to finish what I promised.
And when were iReview planning on telling me this?
I don't know why it took forever to be uploaded to YouTube. I don't know why it took until like October of 2020 for it to finally be released on YouTube. I wasn't there. I wasn't too sure why Blake was holding off the project, even though he teased it a lot on Facebook. But Blake's kind of like that with his projects. He says he's working on something, and then he'll either never release it, or yeah, he'll just never release it.
Blake has a tendency to take forever to finish a film. Whether he's editing it or not, it will take forever.
It takes a long time for movies I make to get out of post-production. And usually I think that the reason that is just, I guess, people... Editing a short film takes a lot of time. And I think we always completely forget how long it takes. Even for something that is like a 5-minute, 7-minute film like this, took forever.
I know Jordan was the man behind the green door that made this happen. He was really pushing, you know, Blake to get it out.
It basically got to the point where I was just bugging him to upload it, because it was done months prior to him uploading it. For some reason in his head, he wanted to release it at the same time as this documentary, as like a double feature. I don't know why.
Originally, we had actually made this for a festival, which was the Creative Creatures Film Festival. And then it never happened.
And then when it finally got uploaded, Blake was very disappointed with the amount of views it got. And he did like a YouTube premiere, and no one fucking watched it.
The trailer became, I think, like the most popular or the second most popular like video on my channel just from like putting it up. And I'm like, okay, well, we clearly have some form of an audience. It's my most popular video on my channel at this point, I think. It ended up going well. I was pretty happy with it. But I mean, it's as happy as you can be when you've worked on something for like almost 2 years of your life. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
I think the final product is not too bad. I'm quite happy with my editing, even though there are some things that I still didn't like that Blake wanted. The writing, I think, is a little confusing to anyone who was not used to the story. Jordan's camera work at times is awful. Sometimes it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's an alright film. I don't dislike it. I mean, it's on my channel. I think it's a good stepping stone for myself as like a director and a filmmaker. And it allowed me to learn more about the types of films that I want to make. Probably the most intense directing I've had to do. I think as an experience directing, it was very good for me to learn how to micromanage all of these elements. And I think I did an alright job at micromanaging it for the most part. I think the most important thing to me is the time that was spent making it rather than the film itself. And that's kind of how I see a lot of my films. So it's perfectly all right, and I'm fine with that.
It's got some nice shots every now and then. It's got the equal or if not more amount of bad shots. It's not very good. The story doesn't make sense. I don't think it's very good. I don't think it's very good at all.
I think it is a solid 6 out of 10 film.
Overall, I think it was okay. Wasn't the worst, wasn't the best, but hey, you gotta start somewhere.
Like this is like a revenge type thing. So let's try it as in like with the motivation of I'm going to try and kill someone. So let's try that. All right, reset.
I'll get it done.
Reset.
I'll get it done.
Reset.
I will get it done.
Reset.
Yeah, I'll get it done.
All right, cut.
I'll get it done. I'll get it done. Get it done. I'll get it done. Get it done.
it done. I'll get it done.